Can a Christian take a blood oath? Unveiling the severe consequences. In today's world, the concept of taking oaths can range from formal promises in legal settings to deeply personal vows. But among these, blood oaths stand out for their intense symbolism and binding nature. For Christians, this raises a critical question: is it acceptable to take a blood oath? And what are the potential consequences of doing so? Biblical perspective on blood oaths. In exploring whether a Christian can take a blood oath, we must delve into what the Bible says about making oaths and the sanctity of blood. Blood is viewed as sacred in the Bible, representing life and covenant, Leviticus 17 verse 11. In the Old Testament, blood was used to seal covenants between God and His people, signifying its solemn and binding nature, Exodus 24 verse 8. However, the New Testament brings a transformative perspective. Jesus' teachings emphasize simplicity and honesty in our commitments. In Matthew 5 verses 34 to 37, Jesus instructs, "Do not swear an oath at all. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one." This instruction highlights the importance of integrity without the need for elaborate or binding rituals. Given this teaching, the use of a blood oath, with its deeply binding nature, conflicts with the simplicity and sincerity that Jesus advocates. A Christian's word should be trustworthy without the need for such extreme measures. The 6 severe consequences of taking a blood oath. Despite the biblical caution against such practices, the allure of a blood oath's perceived strength persists. But the implications of entering such a pact are profound and often perilous. 1. Spiritual bondage. When one takes a blood oath, they often bind themselves in a way that can lead to spiritual bondage. The Bible warns against making vows that ensnare us, Proverbs 6 verses 1 to 2. Entering into a blood oath can open doors to spiritual oppression and entanglements, as it often involves invoking forces beyond human understanding. 2. Violation of God's commandments. Leviticus 19 verse 28 explicitly states, "Do not cut your bodies for the dead or put tattoo marks on yourselves. I am the Lord." This command underscores God's view on harming oneself or using blood in rituals. Taking a blood oath can be seen as a violation of this directive, leading to spiritual and moral consequences. 3. Emotional and psychological burden. A blood oath can impose an immense emotional and psychological burden. The binding nature of such an oath can create anxiety, fear, and an overwhelming sense of obligation. This can lead to distress and mental health issues, as individuals may feel trapped by the commitment they have made. 4. Legal and social repercussions. In a legal context, blood oaths hold no standing and can even lead to trouble. They can complicate relationships and create conflicts, especially when the terms of the oath are breached. Such breaches can result in broken trust and serious repercussions within communities or families. 5. Eternal implications. Engaging in practices like blood oaths can have eternal consequences. Romans 6 verse 16 warns, "Don't you know that when you offer yourselves to someone as obedient slaves, you are slaves of the one you obey?" By taking a blood oath, you may be placing yourself under the influence or control of powers contrary to God's will, risking your spiritual freedom and relationship with Him. 6. Interference with God's plan. Lastly, taking a blood oath can interfere with God's divine plan for your life. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 advises, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight." By binding oneself through a blood oath, one may unintentionally hinder the path that God has set forth, restricting the divine guidance and blessings meant for their life. Conclusion: trust in God's covenant. In light of these points, it becomes clear that taking a blood oath is not aligned with Christian principles and carries severe consequences. As followers of Christ, we are called to place our trust in God's covenant rather than seeking assurance through binding human rituals. Jesus' sacrifice on the cross established the ultimate covenant in His blood, Luke 22 verse 20, rendering any further blood oaths unnecessary. We are encouraged to live with integrity and faithfulness, allowing our simple yes or no to be sufficient, James 5 verse 12. This reflects our trust in God's power and His plans for our lives, freeing us from the need for such extreme measures. Let us rest in the assurance that God's promises are steadfast, and His guidance is sufficient for all our commitments and challenges. If you love Jesus, then subscribe, like, follow, comment and share.